All right, let's get another point of view on this. Joining us from Miami, Nicole Parker, FBI agent for 12 years. And she follows the agency, obviously, as an alumni, very, very closely. In my talking points memo, did I make any mistakes or was I unfair, Ms. Parker?
First of all, thank you for having me. This is kind of what we anticipated that it was going to be. When Chris Wray comes in to testify, you can expect that he's probably going to deflect on many or most of the answers. A lot of times the answer is, it's an ongoing federal investigation. We cannot discuss that. That's an ongoing personnel matter, whatever it might be. I think that Americans want to know the truth. They feel like they are seeing this politicization happening, and what's happening to fix it. There is no fix to this. And so I think that's what Americans were anticipating today. They wanted to hear Chris Wray testify under oath and understand the status of all of these concerns, one politicization issue after another at the FBI.
And we didn't get that, correct?
A lot of us are left with unanswered questions. Like I said, there's an easy way to deflect answers. Say it's ongoing investigation, that's an ongoing personnel matter, that's
right.
Protected, things of that sort.
Right, very easy to do it. Now, you're a professional law enforcement agent, and you know how to interview witnesses and people who are charged with crimes. I didn't see any perceptive questions in that hearing today. Obviously, Democrats, they didn't want a part of it, but the Republicans wanted to make speeches rather than interrogate. Is that how you saw it?
It's a chance for people to say what they want to say in front of Christopher Wray and get his reaction. But yes, I do agree that many times it's not as much of an interview and a testimony as it is stating what they want to get out and
right.
for the American public to hear.
Making a speech. You were in the FBI for 5 years under Wray. You were in Miami most of the time, correct?
I was in the Miami division my entire time at the FBI.
Okay. Did you see, and remember, you worked for Comey, who has been proven to be very political. Did you see a change in the Bureau under Wray when he came in?
So I was an FBI agent under Robert Mueller, and then James Comey, and then Christopher Wray. When Christopher Wray came in, we all knew that he was coming in because Jim Comey had been fired after the Operation Crossfire Hurricane. And it was a different leadership style, and that Christopher Wray was not as much in the public eye. He was not out there speaking to the media as frequently as we were seeing Jim Comey. We were trying to regain our trust with the American people after what had occurred with Operation Crossfire Hurricane. And unfortunately, that politicization seemed to have continued even under Christopher Wray.
Did agents in Miami discuss that? Were they all in agreement with what you just said, that the Bureau is becoming more politicized under Wray?
So I wouldn't say all agents feel the same. I think that as an FBI agent, you have relationships with those in your own field office in the Miami division, but also field offices across the nation. Whether you're involved in something that appears to be political. I was working violent crime, crimes against children, human trafficking, active shooters, things of that sort. And the politicization was seeping in regardless of what type of violation you were working. I tried to just focus on my violent crime cases, but because of the constant barrage of politicization, it was difficult to ignore what was happening. And so I would say agents all over the country,
okay, well, wait,
we all saw it happening.
I just want to talk about you. Can you give me an example of of what you saw in your investigations as far as politics are concerned?
So my particular investigations, I did not see politics involved because I was working violent crime most of my career. White collar crime, violent crime, human trafficking, crimes against children, active shooters, mass shooters, things of that sort. But what I did see was that constantly there was a barrage of information, and we were hearing about the investigations many times occurring out of WFO or Washington headquarters, such as Operation Crossfire Hurricane. I had nothing to do with that, but we all heard about that. And we were all, when Chris Wray came in and there were all of these changes that were made to the process, again, I was not involved in those types of investigations or cases, but we were all held accountable for the mistakes of those that were involved. Okay. So for instance, after Operation Crossfire Hurricane, we all had to do something called Virtual Academy. We had to go in and study and take these exams talking about, what went wrong in that investigation. I have to tell you that doing a Virtual Academy training does not fix the problem. Character and honesty of those working at the FBI cannot be ingrained in someone because they are asked to take a training on Virtual Academy after something of this sort.
There's no question about that. But the Justice Department, President Biden, and to some extent Christopher Wray, but lesser, have defined the major problem in the United States as right-wing militia groups. They say flat out, that's the biggest threat. Not the human traffickers, not the drug cartels, not Al-Qaeda. It's right-wing extremists, the biggest domestic threat. Surely you knew that. You heard that. Does FBI concur that that's the biggest threat?
Agents on the field and ground level would not agree with that. I myself did not agree with that. That is not what I saw as the biggest threat facing this country.
That's a blatant example of politics. I'll give you another one. Abortion clinics. So there have been hundreds of attacks on Catholic churches in the last few years. Hundreds. But the FBI has solved very few of them. I don't even know if there's any investigations into any of them. But abortion clinics, they're hauling people in right and left, pro-life people who may overstep, go too close to the clinic, or yell at somebody going in for information, whatever. FBI's all over it. That's what the Richmond office did with the Catholic Church. It was targeted at people who were pro-life. Did the FBI agents, you and others, know that was happening?
We saw it happening. Like I said, there was a pattern of this type of behavior occurring over and over and over. Again, for me, I personally started seeing it during Operation Crossfire Hurricane. I also saw it during the Hillary Clinton email investigation.
You answered the question. You saw it, you saw it, you saw it.
Yep.
The FBI bureau chief, and all of them, all around the country, in Miami, Denver, Seattle, wherever it may be, they have to answer to Washington, D.C. They can't go against the prevailing political sentiment coming out of there, correct?
So that is one of the issues that I believe is occurring at the FBI. There is too much power at the headquarters level and up in the DC area, whether it's WFO or whether it's, the Baltimore field office or headquarters. The cases need to be decentralized and need to be worked out of the individual field offices.
So I am correct in saying that Washington, like a giant octopus, is basically controlling all of the bureaus, and the bureau chiefs, the FBI chiefs in charge, aren't going to go against Washington.
That's something that we saw.
Okay.
We just saw that there was a lot of guidance coming down from headquarters, and you were basically, that's what you do. Each individual field office is separate, right? But this is an example of something that I saw and that we all saw at the Bureau. During the summer of 2020, there were cities burning to the ground. There were federal buildings that were being damaged, and there was no call out for FBI to respond and to protect those buildings and to protect these cities. But yet, when it comes to a political matter, around January 6th, full force of the FBI was enlisted.
So
there was just a very stark contrast.
After the George Floyd riots and the Antifa in Oregon and all this, the FBI essentially stood down. They didn't look at it. Right, go ahead.
Right, there was never like a widespread call out like there was for January 6th. There just wasn't. I mean, we received multiple emails saying, hey, we need volunteers to come to DC for this. I never saw a widespread call out bureau-wide during 2020. I just did not.
All right, Ms. Parker, thanks for your candor and honesty. It's a service to the American people. We really appreciate it, and we hope we can speak to you again soon. Thank you. Okay, so there you have it. I think that's the best coverage you'll get on the Wray hearings and the FBI from anywhere. If you see any good coverage, anybody else doing anything worthy, please let me know. Bill@BillO'Reilly.com, Bill@BillO'Reilly.com, name and town if you wish to opine.